Imagine walking down a busy street, scrolling through your phone, or even sitting in your living room. Everywhere you look, you see shapes, signs, logos, and images. But have you ever stopped to wonder why certain symbols catch your attention? Why they feel familiar? Or why they stir emotions you can't explain? Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, believed that these symbols are far more than mere decorations. They are windows into your unconscious mind. Jung argued that symbols are the language of the unconscious, the way our inner world communicates with us. They carry layers of meaning, often rooted in archetypes, universal patterns inherited from our ancestors. The butterfly you see on a package, the circle in a logo, or even a simple road sign can carry deep psychological resonance, connecting you to shared human experiences across cultures and centuries. This video will take you on a journey into the hidden meanings behind the symbols you encounter every day. You will discover how logos, dreams, religious imagery, and even ordinary objects can reveal desires, fears, and truths about yourself that you may never have consciously recognized. By the end of this exploration, you will start noticing the invisible language of the unconscious all around you, and you may never see the world the same way again. So, buckle up as we dive into Carl Jung's fascinating insights into the symbolic world and uncover the hidden messages that your unconscious mind is trying to tell you. Before we decode the symbols around us, we must first understand what a symbol truly is. A symbol is not merely a sign or a label. It is a bridge between the conscious mind and the unconscious. Unlike a straightforward sign, which points to something concrete, a symbol points towards something unknown, something deeper, often difficult to put into words. Jung explained that symbols emerge from the collective unconscious. They are universal patterns, or archetypes, that shape human thought and behavior across time and culture. For example, the image of a mother can evoke the archetype of nurturing, protection, and life itself, regardless of whether it is represented by a statue, painting, or even a simple icon. Similarly, the sun often symbolizes consciousness, clarity, and vitality. Everyday symbols, whether in advertising, social media, or nature, resonate with these archetypes. A heart emoji, for instance, is not just a shape. It taps into the archetype of love, compassion, and emotional connection. Logos like Apple's half-bitten fruit or Nike's swoosh are designed to trigger subconscious associations, influencing how we feel and think, even if we are not aware of it. Symbols are also dynamic. They can carry different meanings depending on the person, context, and culture. Jung called these individuated symbols, reflecting the unique psychological journey of an individual. The same snake that represents danger and fear in one culture might symbolize healing and transformation in another, illustrating the profound and multi-layered nature of symbolic language. In this section, we will explore why recognizing symbols matters. They are not trivial. They are essential tools for self-discovery. By observing the symbols around you, you gain access to the hidden dimensions of your psyche. You begin to understand your dreams, your intuitions, and even the emotions stirred by brands, logos, or simple visual patterns. Jung famously said, "The symbol is a bridge between the known and the unknown, between the conscious and the unconscious." Once we start paying attention, symbols are everywhere, waiting to reveal truths about ourselves that we may never consciously consider. Carl Jung introduced one of the most revolutionary ideas in psychology, the concept of the collective unconscious. Unlike the personal unconscious, which stores memories, experiences, and emotions unique to an individual, the collective unconscious is universal. It is a deep reservoir of inherited psychic material shared by all humans, a kind of psychological inheritance that transcends culture, time, and personal history. In simpler terms, it is the shared mental fabric that connects humanity, manifesting itself in symbols, myths, and recurring patterns across the globe. These symbols are not just random images or shapes. They are expressions of this shared unconscious. They carry meaning that resonates deeply, often stirring emotions, memories, or intuitions we cannot fully explain. For example, consider the sun. Across cultures, the sun is almost universally associated with life, energy, clarity, and renewal. In ancient Egypt, it was worshipped as Ra, the sun god who brought light and order to the world. In Japanese culture, the rising sun symbolizes vitality and the beginning of a new day. Even in modern life, sun imagery evokes warmth, optimism, and growth. This is no coincidence. The sun symbol taps into the collective unconscious, carrying archetypal significance embedded in humanity itself. Similarly, the moon appears in myths, literature, and art as a symbol of mystery, cycles, intuition, and transformation. Across the world, from the crescent moon in Islamic culture to the full moon in European folklore, the moon embodies change, hidden forces, and the feminine principle. Water, too, is a universal symbol of life, emotion, and purification. Rivers, oceans, and rain frequently appear in myths, suggesting renewal, unconscious depths, and the flow of life. Even the image of a tree, its roots, trunk, and branches, resonates universally, representing growth, connecting on, and the bridge between the heavens, earth, and the underworld. What makes these symbols so fascinating is that they appear not only in religious or mythological contexts, but also in everyday life. Logos, art, and design often unconsciously incorporate these archetypal symbols because they evoke meaning that speaks directly to the unconscious. Think of the tree in environmental logos, the rising sun in travel advertisements, or water imagery in wellness branding. These symbols carry power precisely because they are archetypal. They are drawn from the collective unconscious and thus communicate with the deepest layers of human experience. Jung argued that recognizing these symbols is like finding a key to the unconscious. When we see recurring symbols, whether in dreams, media, or daily surroundings, we are glimpsing a shared psychic heritage that has shaped human behavior and imagination for millennia. By paying attention to these universal patterns, we can understand not only cultural myths and stories, but also the inner workings of our own minds. The collective unconscious shows us that our thoughts, dreams, and imaginations are not isolated. We are part of a vast, shared human narrative, and the symbols around us are the bridges connecting our inner world to this universal consciousness. In short, the everyday symbols we encounter are not just decorations. They are timeless messengers from the deepest layers of the human psyche, inviting us to explore the mysteries within ourselves and across humanity. Carl Jung believed that beneath every symbol lies a deeper structure, the archetype. Archetypes are universal, inherited patterns of thought and behavior, primal templates that shape human experience across cultures and time. They are the invisible threads connecting myths, stories, and symbols to the unconscious mind. When we encounter a symbol, it often embodies one or more of these archetypes, giving it power and resonance beyond its literal meaning. One of the most significant archetypes is the self, representing wholeness, balance, and the ultimate integration of the conscious and unconscious mind. Symbols like circles, mandalas, or even the yin-yang icon often express the self, reminding us of harmony and unity. When you see a perfectly symmetrical logo or a circular design, it resonates at a deeper psychological level because it mirrors our innate desire for completeness. The shadow archetype embodies the darker, hidden aspects of the psyche, qualities we reject or suppress. Symbols of darkness, monsters, or storms in stories and films often reflect the shadow. For example, in superhero movies, the villain frequently symbolizes the hero's shadow, mirroring traits the hero must confront to grow. Similarly, a brand using intense or chaotic imagery may tap into the shadow to provoke strong emotional responses. Then there is the anima and animus, the feminine aspects within men and the masculine aspects within women. Symbols of water, the moon, or nurturing figures often represent the anima, while mountains, swords, or heroic figures can express the animus. These symbols help individuals engage with the hidden aspects of their own psyche, promoting balance and psychological integration. The hero archetype appears in countless myths, movies, and even advertising campaigns. Think of Harry Potter's journey, Luke Skywalker's battle against the Empire, or a brand portraying adventure and courage. Heroic symbols inspire transformation, resilience, and the pursuit of meaning. Finally, the trickster archetype embodies chaos, surprise, and disruption. Symbols like clowns, jesters, or unpredictable, natural forces remind us of life's unpredictability, challenging rigid thinking and prompting growth through adaptability. In everyday life, logos and imagery often draw on these archetypes, consciously or not. Nike's swoosh evokes the hero, suggesting action and triumph, while water imagery in wellness brands connects to the anima, promoting calm and emotional flow. Movies, stories, and even dreams continuously weave these archetypes into symbolic narratives, reminding us that our lives are intertwined with universal patterns. Recognizing archetypes behind symbols allows us to decode messages from the unconscious, understand cultural motifs, and gain deeper insight into ourselves. Every symbol we encounter, from a corporate logo to a dream image, is more than it seems. It is a reflection of these timeless, universal forces shaping our psyche. Carl Jung famously said, "Dreams are the guiding words of the soul." To him, dreams were not random or meaningless. They were filled with symbols that provided direct insight into the unconscious mind. Every night, as we sleep, our psyche speaks to us in its own language, using images, colors, characters, and events to convey messages that are often hidden from our waking awareness. These symbols carry layers of meaning, drawing on archetypes and collective experiences, offering guidance, warnings, and glimpses of our deeper self. Dreams are a natural theater for symbols because the unconscious communicates most freely in the dream state. In a single dream, a person might encounter water, representing emotions, a path, symbolizing life direction, or a recurring animal, reflecting instincts or traits within the self. Unlike waking life, where symbols are filtered through rational thought, dreams allow symbols to emerge in their pure, intuitive form. Jung developed several methods for interpreting dream symbols, emphasizing personal and universal layers. One key approach is amplification, which involves exploring the symbolic meaning of a dream element by connecting it to mythology, culture, or literature. For example, dreaming of a snake might evoke personal fear, but when amplified through mythology, it can also symbolize transformation, healing, or hidden knowledge. Amplification reveals both the archetypal resonance and the personal significance of the symbol. Another method is associative analysis. Here, the dreamer reflects on what each symbol personally evokes. If you dream of a bridge, you might associate it with connection, transition, or fear of change. By exploring personal associations, the dreamer uncovers the unconscious emotions and conflicts tied to the symbol. To illustrate, consider a common dream, standing at the edge of a vast ocean. For one person, the ocean might evoke anxiety, representing overwhelming emotions or uncertainty in life. For another, it might inspire awe and possibility, symbolizing creativity and spiritual depth. Jung believed both interpretations are valid. The symbol carries universal archetypal weight while reflecting the dreamer's personal unconscious state. Animals frequently appear in dreams as well. A bird soaring might symbolize freedom, ambition, or the longing to rise above limitations. A wolf could represent the shadow, untamed instincts, or a guide through inner challenges. Even mundane objects, a locked door, a falling leaf, or a glowing light, can carry profound meaning when seen as symbols of internal processes, emotional states, or psychological transitions. Jung emphasized that dreams are inherently compensatory. They often balance conscious attitudes by revealing what is neglected or repressed. If someone focuses entirely on work and neglects personal relations, their dreams might symbolically highlight family, intimacy, or emotional needs. By paying attention to these symbolic messages, we gain insight into our unrecognized desires, unresolved conflicts, and pathways to growth. In essence, every dream is a conversation between the conscious and unconscious mind. By learning to recognize and interpret the symbols within dreams, we access a hidden map of our inner world, uncovering truths that guide our personal development, creativity, and emotional well-being. Dreams are not just random images. They are symbolic messages, waiting for us to listen. Symbols are not only present in our dreams and daily life, they are the heartbeat of culture and religion. Across centuries and continents, humans have consistently used symbols to express what cannot be put into words: the mysteries of existence, the divine, and the psyche itself. Carl Jung observed that these religious and spiritual symbols are more than cultural artifacts. They are manifestations of archetypes from the collective unconscious, carrying universal psychological truths that resonate deeply with all humans. Take the lotus, for example. In Hinduism and Buddhism, it represents purity, spiritual awakening, and the ability to rise above worldly suffering. Its roots remain in the mud, yet it blossoms into a beautiful flower, untouched by the dirt below. Jung would interpret this as a symbol of individuation, the journey of the psyche rising from the unconscious, confronting challenges and achieving self-realization. The lotus mirrors a psychological truth. Even amidst struggle and darkness, growth and enlightenment are possible. It is both a point of suffering and a pathway to transcendence, echoing the human journey of transformation and integration. Even outside religious context, the cross as a symbol communicates balance, intersection, and convergence, themes deeply embedded in the human psyche. The yin-yang symbol from Taoism illustrates duality and harmony. The black and white halves represent opposing forces, light and dark, masculine and feminine, action and stillness. Jung would identify this as an archetype of balance and complementarity, showing that psychological growth involves acknowledging and integrating opposites within ourselves. It teaches that conflict and contrast are essential for wholeness, and that inner harmony arises when we accept the totality of our being. Mandalas, circular geometric designs found in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, are particularly significant for Jung. He viewed mandalas as symbols of the self, representing wholeness, unity, and the integration of conscious and unconscious elements. Creating or meditating on a mandala is a form of psychological expression, a way to engage with the inner world and foster balance and self-understanding. Across cultures, from Native American medicine wheels to Celtic knots, from Islamic geometric patterns to African masks, symbols consistently communicate deep psychological truths. They externalize universal experiences, growth, transformation, conflict, and harmony, allowing people to engage with the unconscious collectively. Jung emphasized that these symbols endure because they are not merely cultural, they resonate with archetypes embedded in the human psyche. When we encounter them, consciously or unconsciously, they speak to our inner world, evoke emotions, and guide reflection. They remind us that beneath cultural differences lies a shared human experience, a collective psyche that uses symbols to navigate life, suffering, and growth. In essence, religious and cultural symbols are mirrors of the psyche. They are timeless tools that communicate psychological truths universally, connecting us to our inner selves and to humanity across time and space. In the modern world, symbols surround us more than ever. From the moment we wake up to the time we go to sleep, we are bombarded with logos, signs, and visual cues that shape our perceptions, emotions, and decisions. Carl Jung's insights into the symbolic mind offer a fascinating lens to understand why these images feel so compelling. They tap directly into the unconscious, activating archetypes that resonate with universal human experiences. Consider Apple's iconic half-bitten apple. On the surface, it's a simple logo, but its impact is profound. The apple itself is loaded with symbolic meaning. In mythology, it can represent knowledge, temptation, or enlightenment. Jung would argue that this logo triggers archetypal ideas of creativity, innovation, and discovery. When people see it, they unconsciously connect with these deeper meanings, which is why Apple has cultivated such a strong emotional connection with its audience. Nike's swoosh is another striking example. It represents movement, speed, and progress. But more than that, it resonates with the hero archetype. Every time someone wears Nike shoes or sees the logo, the unconscious mind is subtly reminded of ambition, courage, and personal achievement. It is a symbol that encourages individuals to envision themselves overcoming obstacles, pushing limits, and striving for greatness. McDonald's golden arches offer a different kind of psychological appeal. Beyond recognition and consistency, the arches evoke comfort, familiarity, and indulgence. Jung might link this to archetypes of nurture and satisfaction, the inner child, the caregiver, or the desire for safety and reward. The logo becomes more than a business symbol. It acts as a trigger for deep emotional and psychological responses. Social media icons, too, tap into the unconscious. The familiar blue of Facebook, the camera icon of Instagram, or the bird of Twitter are instantly recognizable. They symbolize connection, communication, and belonging, themes deeply rooted in our social instincts and the collective unconscious. Even without consciously thinking about it, these symbols shape behavior, motivating engagement and reinforcing emotional associations with the platform. Advertising leverages these archetypal triggers deliberately. Colors, shapes, and imagery are chosen to resonate with universal human instincts. The circle symbolizes unity, the upward arrow suggests progress, and the lion evokes power and courage. Through this symbolic language, brands communicate messages that speak directly to the unconscious, influencing feelings, decisions, and loyalty in ways that rational explanations cannot fully account for. Jung's theory shows us that we are constantly interacting with symbols, whether in dreams, religion, art, or commerce. Logos and advertising are modern-day mythologies. They tell stories, convey ideals, and evoke archetypal energies. By understanding the psychology behind these symbols, we gain insight into why certain brands feel magnetic, why some images stir emotions instantly, and why symbols continue to shape human behavior in profound ways. In essence, logos are not just marketing tools. They are archetypal triggers, carefully designed to communicate with the unconscious me, and every glance at a symbol carries hidden meaning, subtly guiding thoughts, desires, and emotions, proving that even in the age of modern commerce, Jung's timeless insights into symbolism remain more relevant than ever. Symbols are the lifeblood of art and literature, serving as a bridge between the conscious mind and the unconscious. Carl Jung believed that artists and writers are uniquely attuned to the language of the unconscious, capable of transforming intangible emotions, desires, and archetypes into vivid images, stories, and visual motifs. Every brushstroke, plot twist, and metaphor carries symbolic weight, revealing truths that words alone cannot express. Take Vincent van Gogh, for example. His paintings, from the swirling skies of Starry Night to the radiant sunflowers, are more than aesthetic masterpieces. They are symbolic expressions of the inner psyche. The stars and turbulent skies reflect his emotional intensity, the struggle between chaos and order, light and darkness, archetypal forces that resonate with viewers at a profound, unconscious level. Each color and form communicates feelings and truths beyond the literal scene, inviting the observer to connect with their own inner world. Literature, too, is steeped in symbolic meaning. Shakespeare, for instance, masterfully used symbols to explore the depths of the human psyche. In Macbeth, the recurring motif of blood symbolizes guilt, moral corruption, and the inescapable consequences of ambition. In Hamlet, the skull and the appearance of ghosts convey mortality, the shadow, and the unresolved unconscious conflicts within the characters. These symbols are not merely decorative. They carry archetypal significance that resonates across time, cultures, and readers, allowing us to explore universal aspects of human experience. J.R.R. Tolkien's works provide another striking example. Middle-earth is populated with symbolic elements that convey archetypal truths. The One Ring represents temptation, power, and the shadow, while the journey of Frodo embodies the hero archetype, a universal narrative of struggle, growth, and transformation. Tolkien's use of symbols connects readers with the collective unconscious, making the story feel deeply familiar and psychologically resonant despite its fantastical setting. Even in everyday storytelling and visuals, symbols communicate archetypal truths. A rising sun can symbolize hope and renewal, a storm may reflect inner turmoil, and a winding path often represents life's journey. These recurring motifs tap into universal patterns of the psyche, helping audiences intuitively understand meaning without needing explicit explanation. Jung emphasized that art and literature function as mirrors of the unconscious. By observing symbols, we can decode hidden psychological dynamics, recognize the shadow, and explore archetypal energies within ourselves. The process is reciprocal. The creator projects unconscious material through symbolic expression, and the audience receives and internalizes these symbols, often experiencing personal insight or emotional resonance. In essence, symbolism in art and literature that is a universal language of the psyche. From Van Gogh's vibrant canvases to Shakespeare's timeless plays and Tolkien's epic mythology, symbols communicate truths about human nature, emotion, and transformation. They remind us that beneath the surface of every story and visual lies a hidden world of archetypes, connecting creators, audiences, and the collective unconscious in a timeless dance of meaning and discovery. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow to describe the hidden or suppressed aspects of the self, traits, desires, and fears we reject or deny. While many of us strive to present an idealized version of ourselves to the world, the shadow quietly resides in the unconscious, shaping thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways we may not fully recognize. Symbols, Jung argued, act as messengers from this hidden realm, revealing what we keep out of conscious awareness and offering a path towards self-understanding and growth. Recurring symbols are often the clearest signals of the shadow. For example, someone who repeatedly dreams of dark forests, locked doors, or looming storms may be confronting fears, insecurities, or unresolved emotions buried within. These images are not random. They are symbolic expressions of suppressed aspects of the psyche, urging the dreamer to acknowledge, understand, and integrate them. By paying attention to these symbols, we gain access to parts of ourselves that we might otherwise avoid, allowing for deeper self-reflection and emotional healing. Even in waking life, the shadow communicates through everyday symbols. A sudden fascination with a particular object, color, or theme, such as fire, snakes, or masks, may indicate unacknowledged desires or inner conflicts. Jung believed that when we ignore these symbolic messages, the shadow exerts influence indirectly, often through projections onto others. For instance, strong aversions, irritations, or judgments towards certain people may reflect traits we refuse to accept in ourselves. Symbols, whether in dreams, art, or daily experiences, can reveal these hidden truths without judgment, giving us a roadmap to personal insight. Engaging consciously with these symbols is a transformative process. Jung advocated for acknowledging the shadow rather than repressing it. By observing and interpreting the symbols that represent our hidden fears and desires, we gradually integrate these aspects into our conscious awareness. This integration is a critical step in the process of individuation, the journey toward becoming a whole, balanced self. For instance, a person who dreams repeatedly of storms might explore the symbol's meaning, discovering that it reflects unexpressed anger or emotional turbulence. By addressing these feelings consciously, they transform a source of internal conflict into personal growth and resilience. Symbols also appear in culture and art as mirrors of the collective shadow. Stories of villains, monsters, or chaotic forces often embody traits humanity collectively struggles with: greed, envy, or aggression. When we recognize these archetypal patterns, we can see how they resonate within ourselves, offering opportunities for reflection and growth. Ultimately, symbols serve as gateways to the unconscious, illuminating the shadow in ways that words alone cannot. They provide a safe and meaningful way to explore suppressed aspects of the self, confront hidden fears, and uncover desires that have been long denied. By listening to the messages embedded in symbols, we can transform unconscious tension into conscious understanding, allowing personal growth, emotional balance, and psychological wholeness. Carl Jung believed that symbols were not just passive reflections of the unconscious. They were living, dynamic forces that could be actively engaged with. One of his most powerful tools for exploring the psyche was active imagination, a technique designed to bridge the gap between the conscious mind and the unconscious through direct interaction with symbols. Unlike dream analysis, H interprets images after the fact. Active imagination encourages us to enter into a dialogue with the symbols themselves, treating them as conscious participants in the journey of self-discovery. The process of active imagination begins with observing a symbol, whether it appears in a dream, in art, in nature, or even spontaneously in the mind's eye, and allowing it to unfold freely. Instead of trying to control or interpret it immediately, the practitioner visualizes, interacts with, or converses with the symbol. This engagement often takes the form of imagery, storytelling, writing, or even movement. By maintaining a balance between conscious awareness and receptivity, the symbol can reveal hidden thoughts, emotions, and aspects of the self that have remained unconscious. For example, imagine a person repeatedly dreams of a wise old woman who offers guidance. In active imagination, rather than simply writing off the figure as a dream character, the individual might picture a conversation with her, asking questions and noting her responses. Over time, this symbolic figure may reveal insights about intuition, creativity, or neglected emotional wisdom. In Jungian terms, the figure of the old woman could represent the archetype of the anima or inner wisdom, guiding the conscious mind toward balance and understanding. Active imagination is not limited to dream figures. Everyday symbols can also be explored consciously. A recurring motif in daily life, a logo, an animal, or even a particular shape can be treated as a symbolic guide. For instance, seeing a recurring image of a bridge might prompt the individual to reflect. What am I trying to cross? What connections am I seeking in my life? By asking these questions and engaging with the symbol imaginatively, a person can uncover unconscious drives, desires, and challenges, bringing them into conscious awareness. Here are some practical tips to begin working with symbols in daily life. Keep a symbol journal. Record images, dreams, or recurring motifs you notice each day. Include your immediate feelings and associations with each symbol. Visual dialogue. Choose a symbol that feels significant and imagine interacting with it. Ask questions and pay attention to what arises intuitively. Creative expression. Draw, paint, or write about symbols. Creative expression often allows unconscious meanings to emerge naturally. Reflect on archetypal meaning. Consider universal associations for symbols, such as water for emotion, fire for transformation, or a tree for growth and connection. Compare these with your personal associations to find deeper resonance. Consistency and patience. Active imagination requires regular practice. The more consistently you engage with symbols, the richer the dialogue with your unconscious becomes. Through active imagination, symbols transform from passive images into interactive guides, providing insight, clarity, and self-understanding. Jung believed that these practices are essential for individuation, the lifelong process of integrating conscious and unconscious aspects of the self. By learning to consciously interact with symbols, we gain the ability to decode hidden messages from the psyche, confront suppressed emotions, and cultivate inner balance. In essence, active imagination allows the unconscious to speak directly, using symbols as messengers. When we pay attention, engage, and reflect, symbols become more than mere signs. They become allies, illuminating our path towards self-awareness, growth, and psychological wholeness. As we reach the end of this journey into the symbolic world, it becomes clear how deeply intertwined symbols, archetypes, and the unconscious are in our daily lives. From the dreams we remember or sometimes forget, to the logos we see on our morning commute, the books we read, and the art we admire, symbols are everywhere. They are not mere decoration, they are the language of the unconscious, offering guidance, insight, and self-understanding. We explored how symbols serve as bridges between the conscious and unconscious mind, revealing hidden desires, suppressed fears, and essential truths about who we are. Archetypes, the universal patterns within the psyche, appear through these symbols, allowing us to recognize recurring themes across cultures, myths, religions, and even modern media. Whether it is the hero in a movie, the nurturing mother in a dream, or the trickster figure in a story, these archetypal patterns resonate because they are part of our shared human experience. Through dreams, everyday objects, cultural icons, and artistic expression, symbols provide a window into the deeper layers of our psyche. They communicate the unspoken, giving form to thoughts and emotions that are otherwise difficult to articulate. By paying attention to symbols, we gain access to our unconscious, enabling us to understand not only ourselves, but also the collective experiences that connect all humans across time and space. Jung's technique of active imagination showed us that we don't have to passively interpret symbols. We can engage with them consciously. By interacting with dream figures, recurring motifs, or everyday imagery, we open a dialogue with our inner world. This practice fosters personal growth, emotional clarity, and psychological wholeness. It allows us to confront our shadow, integrate the hidden aspects of the self, and ultimately move closer to individuation, the process of becoming a fully realized, balanced individual. So, what can you do moving forward? Begin observing symbols in your own life consciously. Keep a journal of dreams, pay attention to recurring images, and notice the emotional reactions you experience when encountering logos, art, or cultural icons. Reflect on the archetypal significance of these symbols and explore how they relate to your personal journey. By doing so, you not only decode the hidden messages of the unconscious, but also empower yourself to grow, transform, and achieve deeper self-awareness. Remember, the power of symbols lies not just in seeing them, but in understanding them, engaging with them, and allowing them to guide you. They are the whispers of the unconscious, the keys to your inner world, and the mirror of your innermost truths. Perhaps it is most fitting to end with Jung's own words. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who is inside, awakens. Take this wisdom to heart. Start looking inward. Observe the symbols that appear around and within you, and awaken to the profound insights that the language of the unconscious offers. Your journey towards self-discovery begins with attention, reflection, and the courage to engage with the symbols that shape your inner world.